Hey, Chicago. What do you say? Cubs gonna win today.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
This episode is brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Didn't file with TurboTax last year? That's in the past. Now, Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your own taxes for free if you didn't file with them last year. File by February 18th. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now, this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. New filers and filers who didn't use TurboTax last year only must start and file your own taxes in-app by February 18th. Excludes TurboTax Live. Full terms at TurboTax.com.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Hey Atlanta, Apple is open for small business. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. With privacy and security built in on all devices, it's easy for you to protect your customers' data. And if you need hardware or software support, you'll get advice from business experts at no cost whatsoever. So you can focus more on the soup du jour and less on, the other stuff. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise Podcast. It's time for a very special edition of the Pointless Exercise Podcast. It's the baseball preview episode, and we have brought everybody, all of your Pointless Exercise favorites are here, and we even added one, your new favorite. We'll start, I'm just going to introduce everybody. Our from the Baseball Podcast, National Baseball writer David Brown. Dave, how are you?
Hi, Andy, and Mike's, and Oleg.
Yeah, then we'll introduce the Mike P's, because there's 2 of them, 3 Mikes, 2 of them Mike P's. From the Cub Podcast, Mike Praznowski.
How we doing, guys?
We have actor, comedian, fan favorite Mike Pusateri is here.
Hello, everybody.
From Remember This Crap, Mike Donohue.
Gentlemen, good to see you all.
And our Make-A-Wish guest. It's very... we're all glad to have him. 2023 Cody Softball League champion, Oleg. Oleg, how are you?
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
You'll hang up and listen.
Yes.
That's right. All right, so I gave everybody had homework. Mm-hmm. We picked more things than anyone is going to be interested in, but what the hell? We're going to go around and we're going to give you we're not just going to tell you who's going to win the division. We're going to quickly give you the order of finish in each division.
Oh, shit.
Yes. Except for Oleg, apparently. That's fine.
Just do him last.
We're going to start with we're going to save the National League Central for last. Save all the drama, all the good stuff. But let's start with the opposite of that. We'll start with the American League Central, and we'll go to our honorary Twins correspondent, David Brown, who could start with the with who he's got.
It is quite an honor. Andy and fellas, I've got the Twins winning the AL Central. Do we want details? Or...
You can do whatever you want.
Fine.
You can give the order and then maybe
All right.
a couple of interesting things about what you think of the division as a whole.
The Twins will win. The Tigers will finish second. I've got, in a slight upset, the Royals finishing third, the Guardians fourth, and it's hard to believe, but the White Sox last. I think that the Twins will actually be one of the better teams in the league. They're not just going to win the AL Central because it's the AL Central. They'll actually be competitive with the other big names on the coasts. I don't think it'll be particularly close. I think they'll probably win by 10 or 12 games. And as far as the Royals go, I see them, everything goes right, maybe getting to 500. And the Guardians being just a little below that without Terry Francona anymore managing. And the White Sox just kind of going through the motions here. Chris Getz learning the ropes as GM, losing 100 games again or so. They won't be the worst team in the league because the A's are in the league, but they will be the worst team in the AL Central.
Who is managing Cleveland? Is it Lou Brown? Is it finally?
That would be great. He's dead, but no, it's Stephen Vogt. Get out.
Cross him off the list then.
Yes.
List.
Exactly.
That's right, Stephen Vogt.
Former catcher, like very recently former catcher. I think he was a player as recently as like 2 years ago, and he is the first-time manager of the Guards.
Well, I'm going to go next simply because it's going to be easy because I have the exact same order of finish that you do. Twins, Tigers, Royals, Guardians, White Sox. The Tigers over-under of 80.5, is I actually like that as over.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I think they can win 85, 86 games.
Mm-hmm.
So, like it sounds like you have the exact same order of finish.
I do have the exact same. Although I like the Royals a little bit more. Like I don't know. I just have a good feeling about what they're doing. They've got some veterans who might eat up innings and might be pretty good. Right? They sound Lugo and Waka. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're I like the Royals, but I do think I think the Tigers are I like AJ Hitch as my manager of the year, just to give that away.
All right. Praz, what have you got?
So I'll be the one to be different here. I got the Tigers winning the AL Central. I'll go Twins second, Guardians third, Royals fourth, White Sox bringing up the rear. I think that among the teams in the AL Central, the Tigers are the most improved. They were second last year. People probably didn't realize that just because they were still under 500, but they made some nice moves, getting Jack Flaherty, getting Mark Canha. They have some young talents I really like in Spencer Torkelson, and I think with an improved team around him, we're all Cub fans here. We saw what Javier Baez was like in an atmosphere where, every game is meaningful, unlike what he's had to play through the last few years in Detroit. I think he bounces back despite, I know we saw his numbers in spring training were not all that great, but sometimes that doesn't always correlate to the regular season.
Not all that great is putting it kindly for Javi.
The defense does it.
Defense does do it.
And with that pitching staff, I don't know. I like the Tigers.
Yeah, there's more. He has chances for El Mago type things, the weird things he can think of during a game to steal you a run.
Yeah, let's see him steal first again this year, please.
Mike Pusateri.
All right, I got Twins, Tigers, Guardians, Royals, and White Sox. And I think the Tigers, Jason Benetti is going to be worth 5 wins for the Tigers.
There we go.
From the broadcast booth. So they might be able to overtake the Twins, but I think the Twins are the best team in that division.
It will be interesting. The Tigers on MLB Extra Innings, MLB.TV, were one of the nobody watched ever unless you were a diehard Tiger fan. The atmosphere sucked. The announcers were dull. And, here Benetti shows up and the team's miraculously better. They'll actually be a team you'll want to watch because it'll be fun.
Yeah. And
I did actually go to one game in Detroit this year, and you were right. It was pretty dead, but, that could all change this year. They weren't all that far away from the Twins last year.
Did you get to see the big fist?
Yes. I actually took a picture. I should have shared it with you guys. Me and my uncle went, he's a big White Sox fan. We went for a White Sox-Tigers game in September, watching the most meaningless matchup ever, but he wanted to go. We went to the Joe Louis fist. I intentionally went up and took a picture of the fist punching me in the face.
Well, that's the better end.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
You had a Donohue.
Oh,
it is muted.
Perfect.
We watched him log on 4 different computers while everybody else is talking. He finally figures it out and he puts himself on mute.
Hold on again.
Who's in companion mode now, pal?
I was about to say someone's got to downgrade the Tigers.
Now he's in a cave.
Yes, I've got Twins, Guardians, Tigers, 95, 84, 81 respectively, followed by the Royals with 70. I probably spent more time focusing on the last place team and pegging the Sox with 54 wins. Yes. Yeah, somebody thinking in there.
That makes sense. Okay. Sox are the Royals B team.
Yeah, I think the A's win more than the Sox.
Wow.
That's one of the top bets.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the American League East, and we'll have Mike Prasnowski can start us off in the East.
All right, we'll talk about this more as we go on, but I'm very high on the Royals this year. I have them winning the division. Yankees second, Blue Jays third, Rays fourth, Red Sox, as they normally do, they either finish last or they win it all, and this year they're finishing last.
All right, so you get that right. You had Orioles, Jays, Yankees.
No.
Oh, yeah, you Orioles, Yankees.
Orioles, Yankees, Jays, Rays, Red Sox.
All right. The reason I said that is I have Orioles, Jays, Yankees, Rays, Red Sox. And I would think you could barely slip a piece of paper between the Jays, the Yankees, and the Rays in the battle for second place.
Yeah, similar setup when we get to the NL West, too, with the middle 3 teams there as well.
All right, so I would see I've gone, Mike's gone. Mike Donohue, what do you have for the American League East?
Yeah, Orioles, they seem like a juggernaut. I'm not going to deviate there. Got them fouled. I mean, every team in this division solid, except for maybe the Red Sox. Almost throw it up in the air. But I got for Orioles, Yankees, Rays, Jays, 103, 98, 98, 6 wins. For the Sox, Red Sox being last in the AL, 74.
But remember, the Red Sox have the great Craig Breslow laying his hands on the pitchers, miraculously fixing all of them, except for Lucas Giolito, who immediately broke.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Pusateri.
Yeah, there's a couple of really fun divisions, and this is one of them. I think I have the same that you have, Perez. Orioles, Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, and Red Sox. But that should be a fun one to watch.
David Brown.
Yeah, I think similar order. Orioles, Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, with some difficulty figuring out how 2, 3, and 4 is going to go. And the Red Sox, falling flat, I think they might just lose 100 games, which hasn't happened since the 60s.
Is that right?
Yeah, 1965, I think.
Whoa. Wow. They're in the Yaz era. Right?
Yeah, it's true. I can't believe you let that happen. No, but I mean,
you know who lost the best 100 games I ever saw?
I also would have been on that team. I know you.
Oh, yeah, he probably would have been on that team.
Is that the year? Maybe that's the year. Is that the year before he invented the batting glove? And that's why they lost. Once Hawk invented the batting glove, everything took off. The Red Sox, possible dream, everything kicked in. Attaboy, Hawker Brew. Let's go to the West Coast, American League West, Mike Pusateri.
All right. I've got the Astros. I've got the Mariners. I like their pitching. The Rangers, I think it's hard to repeat, so I think they might have a little bit of trouble out there. And then the Angels, and of course the lowly A's.
Yeah. It's the exact same as mine. I had the same thing too. I think I don't know if I'm just a big Scott Service believer because it means incredibly productive Simon comes in the late East, but I might be overrating Seattle putting in second behind Astros, but I do think I do expect a little bit of a sort of a hangover for the Rangers. Not that I still haven't won 88 games, but I haven't fallen third this year.
So, what do we think the secret to Service? Did he not suffer as many concussions in his career as David Ross? Is that what? Is it the hair? Was the hair just enough extra cushion?
He suffered an extra concussion that reversed all the other concussions.
There we go. He's the Benjamin of baseball.
Well, Andy, we've talked about a play. You referenced the play where he broke something. I was around his head or something.
Yeah, it's one of the most amazing feats in baseball history. He got blown up at a play at home plate, and he was laying there with the ball next to him, and a runner tried to advance to third, and he threw the guy out, and he had a separated right shoulder. Whoa! He threw a runner out with a separated shoulder.
Ooh.
That's
almost like the great
badass. That is bad.
Yeah. Didn't Buck Martinez do that one time with the Mariners, where he took a collision and then threw a guy out?
That sounds vaguely familiar, Mike.
Yeah.
Right there.
Now you want to talk about a catcher whose hair would have protected it from concussions? That's Buck Martinez. That is some amazing lettuce that guy has on his head. All right, so Pusateri and Donohue have gone, right? Because I'm starting to lose track of things. I'm slightly different, so I'm going to go. I have the Mariners winning the division. Then the Astros and Rangers, Angels, and A's. I like the Mariners. I like the cut of their jib. I like their pitching. I like Julio Rodriguez, and I like if you've got a catcher who's nicknamed the Big Dumper, you're for me.
I'm mad that you went before me because I wanted to be the first.
Oh, sorry.
With that division.
All right, well, we'll go to you now, and you can pretend I didn't just say all that.
Can we put the big dumper? Can we put the Big Dumper on the old Scipio team? That seems like it should form up. Sorry, Oleg.
All right, so to be the first to say this, I like the Mariners winning the division.
Wow! Oh my God!
Their pitching is amazing. Julio Rodriguez is amazing, and I think that they're going to make a trade for a hitter. It seems to be always easier to get a pretty good hitter than a pretty good pitcher.
Hey, they brought Mitch Haniger back. They're all set. They brought Mitch Haniger back. They loaned him to the Giants for 1 year.
I'm sure those 300 plate appearances are going to make a huge difference.
And they have probably the grandnephew of a Cubs tangential legend. Don't they have Ronnie Woo Woo's kid? Doesn't he pitch? Don't they have a guy Woo?
Come on, is it Wickers?
No,
it's just Woo.
He's got to pitch. Do they come to Wrigley this year? I want to hear. I'm going to hear people go woo 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 woo. It'll blow his mind. He'll have an aneurysm. He'll die on the spot.
Yeah. Oh my. Jed, that's who you got to get next off.
Hope I'm there to see it.
Wouldn't be the first person Ronnie Woo will kill, I'm sure.
But I still also the better.
All right, David Brown.
Well, it's tough to repeat, and half their pitching staff won't show up until the second half of the season. But I'm going to pick the Rangers. It defies logic or whatever. And I mean, when Bruce Bochy was the manager of the Giants, they didn't win every year, but like every other year or so. But we're ramping up the schedule a little bit. I think that the Rangers, in a kind of a surprise for a champion, will repeat. Well, they didn't repeat. They were the wild card last year, but they'll finish first. So that's not.
Well, didn't they have the same record as the Astros? Weren't they both like 90 and 72?
Yeah, they lost the tiebreaker, right?
Right.
Yeah, and it came down to the last day or two. So it's neighborhoods. And I've got Houston finishing second. I do like Seattle, possibly be wild card and finish third. The guys who picked the Mariners to win, I could see that. Actually, they definitely could win. I know Woo's got a sore elbow right now, but so does everyone else, so he kind of blends in that way. I'd like to pick the Angels to finish last, but the A's just get in the way as usual. So I have them finishing fourth, and the A's probably being the worst team, but we'll hold out hope for the Sox. Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Hey, I gotta say, I really like the over on the Angels 72.5 wins.
You like the over?
Yeah.
I don't know. When you get rid of Ohtani and his translator, that's a lot. But.
Right. I mean, I'm not like with Ohtani, that might be a 76-win team, but
right,
dude, I don't know, something about it. Maybe Trout stays healthy for
once.
Better at bats.
Be nice.
Praz.
All right. My AL West winner is going to be the Houston Astros, no longer managed by Dusty Baker. Thank you very much. Second and third, I think you could alternate. I went with the Rangers ultimately. And I think a big reason I got them ahead is I think when Jacob deGrom comes back for them, he's going to return to his form because he's going to be pitching in not just his home ballpark, but a lot of ballparks within that division that really favor him. I'll go Mariners third, Angels fourth, and Oakland A's as the worst team in baseball fifth.
So I think so far we were at least unanimous in the last place teams in every division. So we know who's bad at least. All right, let's head off to the National League. We're going to start in the East because we're saving the Central for last. Let's see, who hasn't gone? Mike Donohue. How have you got the East?
Well, Barbs, 103 wins, followed by the Phillies, the Mets, the Marlins, and the Nationals. I got the Nationals bottoming out, 66 wins. All the other teams above. I got the Mets under 500 at 79. Based it on other than the Mets space. But I'm kind of a believer in the Phillies. Atlanta's just such a juggernaut. I don't see anyone when you have the playoffs can do it just different. But Rays are just both for that 6 months I've got.
Did you happen to see who the opening day starter is for the Phillies? Or not the Phillies, the Mets? It is Cubs legend Jose Quintana.
No.
Yep.
Sweet. I got to bump him up now.
Yeah. So Cubs win that trade.
Hope the flight from Port St. Lucie doesn't get rerouted to Albuquerque.
I know it's a stupid argument, but the Cubs actually did end up winning that trade because
I believe it.
Nothing but a China doll, and the Sox won one playoff game. Maybe?
Two technically, if you count what they won in 20.
Cubs won a series with Quintana.
Right.
Yes.
And with Quintana being
it's a robot again.
I don't know if the
Cubs won 4 playoff games.
And then with the Cubs' money.
If the Cubs have those 2 pitching prospects, who knows? Right? The White Sox were down with the Padres.
Oh, right. Still alive, right? Yeah. And the Cubs got right.
I'm kidding.
I mean, they're right. Actually, so you the Kevin Bacon, that trade guys who
You got to still,
find the 10 rooms.
Dude, I think the Mets are going to suck so much.
I just like the shit out of them.
81.5 wins. And by the way, I like it that the Nationals over under is 65.6 on the sheet.
Yeah, that's because I can't type. 65. I saw it too. Yeah, that's not a thing.
I think the Mets are going to be under the Marlins win total. How about that?
All right, well, give us your whole since you're going here.
I mean,
give us your whole thing.
The Braves and the Phillies are easy. I like the Marlins in third, and I really like the over on the Marlins as much as I like the over on the Orioles, which I didn't say before. But yeah, the Marlins are better than the Mets and the Nationals.
Who do you have fourth and fifth there?
The Mets and the Nationals. I think the Mets are going to be like a 75 win.
So that's fourth, Nationals.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the Nationals are terrible. Like whatever.
Well, I have the Barbs, and then the Phillies, and then the Marlins, and then I have the Nationals, and then I have the Mets.
Wow.
I think the Nats are going to be frisky.
Wow.
I think the Nats are going to be frisky, and I think the Mets are going to be awful.
Nobody's liking the bet.
I hate it.
Well, they're paying a lot of money for guys to go pitch for other teams. So,
True.
Why not?
I don't think that matters to Steve Cohen, but I just don't think they replaced them with any. Like they're terrible.
No, I think David Stern's convinced him to give him a year, and they'll start spending money again next year.
Yeah.
So they're going to be bad, and I don't think they're really going to care that they're bad. It's kind of the plan.
They will basically be
Kyle Davidson. They're just bottoming out and then starting over.
They will basically be the 2012 Cubs first year theme.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and Jim Bowden said they're going to trade Pete Alonso to the Cubs.
That'd be nice.
So
good. Oh, I don't think that'd be nice.
Wanting it for a while.
I know prediction or somewhere down the line.
Okay. All right. Don't no spoilers. Mike Pusateri, National League East.
I got the Braves, Phillies, Mets, Marlins, and Nationals. Like Donohue, I like the Phillies a lot. I think they could do some real damage in the postseason. That's going to be a team.
I feel like Phillies.
Yeah.
Dave Brown.
Same order, I believe. Braves, Phillies, Mets, Marlins, Nats. Nationals will maybe give the A's and White Sox a run for a worse team. That over-under on the Nationals, 65. I mean, that seems pretty high, and that's not very complimentary. But I like what the Marlins have done the last few years, but they have already some injuries to the pitching staff that worry me a little bit as far as, I don't know if anybody's picking them to win or playoffs, but, that over-under of 78.5 on victory seems close right now. But like everyone else, I think the Braves are probably the best team in the regular season and could win 109 or 102 or somewhere in there. So.
But Dave, let me ask this: first of all, the Marlins, the injuries to the pitching staff don't seem that serious, but then they're getting guys back too.
We'll see. It's just a lot of the guys have gone down in the last few days as well, and they won't have. I mean, they didn't have Sandy Alcantara last year for a great amount of time. I mean, he's out for the year for sure. So, I do. We'll see if Jazz Chisholm can play a whole season, and Jake Berger escaped from the South Side, and he should be good in their lineup, at least to hit some home runs. So they'll have some fun players. I think their depth is a little. I mean, we're relying on AJ Puck to be a starter, and I'm not sure.
Sure. But he's also
Tim Anderson of their shortstop.
Busted. Once I was up the bat. I get what you're saying though.
Okay, Praz.
No shock here. Braves, number one. I'm with Huey. They're probably going to be the best team. You know what? They'll be the best team in the National League. I'll hint at who I think the American League best team will be. Philly second. I think I originally had it written as Mets third. I think I'm scratching them out at this point. I'm going Marlins third, Nationals fourth, Mets fifth. I think to start the season, the Mets will probably be the third best team. They'll probably wind up being the worst team because they're going to wind up trading their only good player in Pete Alonso.
And then Harrison Bader is running around in center field, running into the walls and everybody else.
Running into the apple in center, yeah.
Gets eaten by the top hat with the apple, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
All right, I have some National League East trivia for you guys. I heard this, Jason Stark. I heard this the other day. And I don't think it changed by the end of the spring. Bryce Harper didn't hit one of these all spring. What was one of these?
A baseball.
A child.
A police officer.
A police. That's idiot.
A
single?
He didn't hit that ass.
A fan by throwing his bat in the stands.
A home run?
I can't even tell how many of you are right, but the answer is his average launch angle was 1. He did not hit a fly ball in spring training.
Wow.
Didn't hit a ball in the air in a game in spring training.
Does that do line drives not count as fly balls?
No, you'd have a launch angle with a line drive. If you hit it over Nick Madrigal's head, it's like 3. It's not 1. He didn't play a lot because of an injury, and he apparently didn't hit a ball in the air.
What's your ground balls?
So
I'll
very
pop
interesting.
count in that.
And nobody's really worried about it. He's Bryce Harper. He'll be fine.
One of the practice beating out grounders.
I do have a trivia for Dave Brown related. Bryce Harper did also not tap one of these things this offseason. Didn't you say that, Ad?
Oh, sorry.
No, we know that's not true.
I'm going to tap a meeting. That S.
There we go.
I believe I'm hogging the Central for myself, so I believe the National League West is Oleg's.
Oh, the National League West?
Yes.
All right.
Or unless you want to do the American League West again, we could do it.
I want to be obviously the Dodgers, but I like the Giants second, the D-backs third, Padres fourth, Bucks fifth.
I'll go next because I have the exact same order of finish. Dodgers, Giants, D-bags, Padres, Rockies. I think their projected win totals are all about the same. I think the Giants, D-backs, and Padres are all pretty similar. I like the Giants panic spending at the end of the spring. I think it'll actually work. And as much as I love Yu Darvish, if he's your ace at this point of his career, you need more pitching.
Is there a race go at this point?
Well, unless you want to, I guess it could be Musgrove. I wouldn't. If it was me, it wouldn't be Dylan Cease. I'd like a pitcher who could actually hit the catcher with some consistency.
Not to give away my later on picks, but may I please?
You're spoiling it again.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking about Michael King.
Oh, that's right. I didn't mention Michael King because I forgot he existed.
Yeah, it's easy to forget.
His last photo trade.
Good reason, yeah.
Mike Pusateri.
I think I have the same order: Dodgers, Giants, D-bags, Padres, and Rockies. The thing with Ohtani, it's fast. It will derail the Dodgers at some point, I think, but it will not derail them enough to prevent them from winning the division. But that is going to be a very interesting Q&A.
How do you mean, Mike? Can you expound on that?
Yes.
Can you have what happened?
Let me say that ass. I think I think they're so good. They're so much better than the Giants, D-bags, and Padres. We're all pretty good teams. So I think that'll give them enough of a cushion to survive this Ohtani turmoil that I think it's just bound to happen. But when it gets to the postseason, I think that's really going to catch up with them.
Okay. Well, this is a good time. We'll take a little pause here for a second. I'll give you my Shohei theory as to what I think happened. You guys can tell me that I'm full of shit, but I usually am. I have felt all along, I kind of believe I believe Ippei's original story, which was he did the gambling, he lost a bunch of money, the bookie let him keep betting because he works for Shohei, and Shohei has $1 billion. Finally got to a point where it's like, all right, buddy, you got to pay up. I'm not floating you for $4.5 million. Shohei paid it. They realized Shohei can get in trouble for paying the gambling debt of somebody else, and they immediately had to say that little Ippei stole the money from him. And now Ippei's looking around like, holy shit, I'm going to prison.
Yeah.
Our new scheme is going to put me in prison. They're like, well, it's illegal to gamble in California anyway, so you're in trouble one way or the other. Take it. We'll make it worth your while. Does anybody else think that might be plausible?
I think Shohei did it.
I think I agree.
So Oleg thinks Shohei, those are some of those.
I don't think he's allowed to say that in public. Like, I don't know. Like, that's not. Like, it's weird to me that if I read it right, the bookie came out and was so forward about saying that it wasn't Shohei, that it's almost like one of those, testimony. Like it was weird to me. I also don't really give a shit if you didn't bet on baseball. Who cares? Like, whatever.
I do. I'm morally offended that someone related to baseball would gamble on sports. When I go to Wrigley Field, I have to walk through the DraftKings sportsbook to get in. I'm going to be so upset.
That's what I mean. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's what's the whatever.
Then you kind of have like a Sopranos type theory, basically. You know, Richie Aprile, you go to prison for about 20 years. When you come out, we'll take care of him. Yeah. I can buy that.
If you're, what would be the top? I don't know. I'm asking questions I probably shouldn't ask.
I got to tell you, I don't know if any of you guys are watching Shogun on Hulu.
Yes.
So it's amazing. I'm really worried now, not just for Ippei, but his whole family.
Yes.
I'm worried it's gonna be seppuku, and I didn't know until I watched the show that it's seppuku. You have to kill your family first, and then you kill yourself. I thought you just killed yourself.
Is that right?
Oh, I didn't know that either. I had no idea.
Yeah, well, let's read the fine print. Exactly.
How is that different from the one that sounds like Harry Carey?
Isn't
there like some...
Kiri?
Yeah.
Anything specifically the manner in which you do it, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know, but if you haven't seen Hulu or Shogun on Hulu, it's great.
Is it really?
Excellent. It is excellent.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, Shogun is a very similar word to Shohei.
Yes.
So apparently,
and Shota, and they all have the little thing over the O.
I think Nostradamus, one of his quatrains, predicted that.
That's the lone bro.
It's a whole trinity.
Yeah, my theory about Shohei was basically what Andy says. It seemed like that really made the most sense to me. That he was paying it off and didn't really realize it was illegal to do so, and they kind of walked that back. The thing about the whole explanation that I still don't understand is, and how it has been explained to me by people who, they kind of want to make sure that Shohei is as not as culpable as as he possibly could be, is that even when they were explaining when the crisis, the PR person entered into the brain, apparently Ippei was still like manipulating and running those translations and part of the communications team. That part to me doesn't make a lot of sense. That after the initial story breaks, that Shohei's agents would let him anywhere near the first explanation for what's going on. And that's just the whole part that has not been, Shohei kind of addressed it in his statement, generally speaking, that, Ippei lied, but we need to get to ask questions and hear answers and see some actual evidence other than, I don't know how much this is going to linger, but I think that part of the question has to be answered.
Yeah.
Shohei can get some sort of clearance on this.
And I agree with that. And then isn't the other part for me is, well, how did Ippei have access to Shohei's bank account? Yeah. That was not explained at all.
It hasn't been explained. That's a little more, I don't know, not evidence, but if you look at, imagine yourself going to Japan. I'll just imagine myself. If I went to Japan, I would need an Ippei to help me first. And you would put a lot of trust in that person. He is your spokesman, basically. And I can see how he would gain access to those things based on Shohei going, I'm trying to be a baseball player here. You handle the business affairs, and, we've been friends for a long time. And that stuff, I guess, needs to be explained. But to me, I think we're going to find that is a very plausible way of explaining it.
Well, I think that is plausible, but I think to have the opportunity for him to explain that was his quote-unquote press conference, right? When there was no cameras and no questions, he could have just said that.
And, I guess there is something to be said for saying as little as possible with the investigations going on.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, interesting.
All right. Well, now I've lost track of who has weighed in on the NL West. So you will do it voluntarily.
I'll raise my hand.
Mike
I do.
Pusateri is going next.
No, I weighed in.
Oh, you went. That's right. You were the last one who went before I derailed it. All right. Praz has his hand up. Look how polite.
All right. So I got Dodgers, Giants, and I think that might be a closer race than we expect because of how in shambles the Dodgers rotation looks like right now and how strong the Giants rotation looks like now too. Offense isn't all that great for the Giants, but I think they'll be right on their heels. Then Diamondbacks, and then Padres, Rockies to finish it out.
You can't question the Giants' offense. They have a Yaz.
True. It's Hawk Harrelson's new favorite team.
Donohue. Is the caller there? It's my Phil Donohue impression. Pretty good.
I like Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Rockies, then Diamondbacks.
Ooh.
So I've got the Rockies.
Wait, what?
Everyone's right the Rockies. So I've got the looking at a dead cat bounce. I also I little Rangers and little still gonna win maybe in the Diamondbacks are gonna plummet a bit. I still have winning 80 games. I'm maybe more of a believer in the Rockies, and like the rest of you, I am a believer now in the Giants. Got the
So it's funny. Apparently, Donohue didn't read the Athletic article where Chris Bryant got interviewed, and they said, "So why did you pick the Rockies?" Like, I probably should have done a little more research into their minor league prospects. I didn't realize we were going to be this fucking terrible, or that I was going to play once a week. Yeah,
that's when always darkest before that, and that's when you least expected. That's the principle.
That's the Cub fan in you coming out. For years, that was our hope, worst to first. Right. So you're always worst.
And I have high hopes that Kristen's injuries are going to put behind him. He's going to have a little bit of a surge.
Oh, there's a prop bet coming up for that.
I know.
You're teasing it. I like it.
Yeah. But it's that.
And I think it's Dave Brown, last one to weigh in on the West.
So I figured that, like everyone else, the Dodgers will win. I'm not confident in this, but I do think that the Padres might sneak ahead of the Giants at the end. The Giants were, I think, coming from kind of deep mediocrity, and I do, like the players that they've added, but I don't know if it necessarily adds up to playoff contention or not. Arizona, I think, is gonna. I mean, they just signed Jordan Montgomery. It was as we were going to air.
Yes. They broke the news just in time for the podcast.
Yes,
they saved it.
Knew. Jordan Montgomery signed with the Diamondbacks.
How does that change your order?
Ooh. So, well, I mean, and they just lost Eduardo Rodriguez though to some kind of injury, so he was their previous signing.
As Pat Hughes said, he pulled his latissimus dorsi. Is that what it is? He used the full Latin.
Awesome. That was his modus operandi.
And I do see, I agree with some of the optimism for the Rockies as far as not being as bad as they were last year. Chris Bryant playing more, not to put too fine a point on it, but I don't see them getting out of the base.
And they just extended Ezekiel Tovar.
They did. It wouldn't cost too much, so it didn't hurt.
It's Jackson Chourio extension, right? Big close.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think Jackson Chourio is going to be a lot better than Tovar.
Well, the same.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to the NL Central. I'm going to go mine.
We have to.
I'm going to go in reverse order. I have the Pirates. I have the Pirates in last place.
Oh,
but they're coming. They're surging Pirates all the way to 75 wins, whatever it is. Then I have the Brewers, just because every time you look up, that somebody's hurt. Somebody new is hurt. Was it Garrett Mitchell? Is that his name? The guy who played a few games last year, looked really good, got hurt, breaks his hand at the end of spring training.
Evan Williams is out too.
Fraction.
Okay.
Yeah, Devin Williams is hurt, yes.
Okay. The third place, 2 spots higher than they deserve, the St. Louis Cardinals. Second place, the Fighting Reds of Cincinnati. And first place, the mighty Chicago Cubs.
Let's go. Hamstring.
if they really wanted to, they probably could have gotten relatively cheap deals at the end of spring training for J.D. Martinez and Jordan Montgomery and won the division by 10 games. But Jed wants to keep it interesting for the fans.
That's $45 billion.
Not about J.D. Martinez signing us.
Whatever.
So, no, let's go with, as a wise former Cub manager, one of the best, would say, it's going to go with the guys that got him here. And we're just sticking with our guys. So the Cubs. Mike Donohue, how do you have the Central?
Bottom up, I actually have the Brewers in the basement. How not? Pirates to finish Inland. And then going up, Cardinals, Reds, Cubs, like a lot of others, I only have it up with 90 wins. That was the only other team. Cardinals, 80 wins.
You said you have the Cubs with 90 wins?
With 90 wins? Yeah. Are they playing 180 games?
Listen, Huey, if you think that, I have a prop bet for you that you might like.
It's not with a sports book. It's Praz has the actual prop himself. Yes. You just have to give him the money. He'll hold it for you.
Yeah.
And if you win, he'll cash it.
Yes.
Yes. Ippei Presnowski. All right, Ippei, what's your order of finish?
All right. I have the same order as Huey. Brewers last. Pirates in fourth. The mighty, surging, young talent Pirates. The Cardinals third. Reds second. Cubs in first. Cubs, I think, have the best balance of anyone in the division. I don't think they have the best offense. I think that would go to the Reds. I don't think they have... They're probably in the conversation for best rotation. But as far as like the most balance on the team, I think they're tops in the NL Central. I got them finishing at 88 and 74.
All right. Mike Pusateri.
Okay, from the bottom up, the Cardinals.
Yay!
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Then I got the Pirates, Brewers, the Fighting Gordon Wittenheimers, the Reds, and your Chicago Cubs. And the only thing I wanted to say, kind of what you were alluding to, Andy, the Cubs payroll, their electric tax payroll, sitting at $227 million, and they have, if not the best farm system, certainly one of the top farm systems. You would think with the payroll that high, that's like $30 million higher than anybody else, and the best farm system, we should be talking about blowing away the division. Right. It should be 90 to 95 win team that's looking to do damage in the postseason, and instead, we're sitting here like, 86, 87, sure it'll win the division, but then what? And that's the really sort of maddening thing for all this money they're spending and this farm system they have. They should be a lot. We should be thinking they're going to be a lot better than they probably will be.
I agree. David Brown.
Yeah, I was just looking. I kind of liked the picks, putting the Brewers at the bottom. I didn't do that, but I was looking at their rotation, and it's scary.
And Miley's hurt now too, right?
Yeah, Miley's hurt. I mean, some guys got to come through, or else it could be like a super ugly year. And if Paul Skeens comes up, maybe the Pirates will jump him anyway. But I got the Pirates finishing last. Maybe not a lot of daylight between them and the Brewers for fourth. Cardinals third. Reds second. The Reds and then the Cubs first. If I was a Reds fan, I'd hate it. But if I was, they seem to be on the cusp of being much better than they are, and they refuse to really add very much. I mean, they made a couple of moves, but questionable. I don't know. Putting your lot in with Frankie Montas, I don't know, as your opening day starter. I don't know. I mean, I know he was good, but when you have shoulder injuries, they scare me a little bit. But I think the Cubs will win, maybe not comfortably, but semi-comfortably, maybe getting to 90 wins. I'm not going to pin that number on them, but I think they'll get the upper 80s, and then the Reds will probably be 85, 86. So if that's comfortable enough for you, that's what I think.
All right. I think he set the magic 2 words, Dave. I think the Pirates are the third best team in the division, and I think it's because of Paul Skeens. And and I think that their pitching staff's going to be like sleeper good. And I think the Brewers and the Cardinals are going to suck this year. Like, it's going to be wonderful. Like, they're just not good. They're not. I mean, the Cardinals are counting on Lance Lynn and Gibson.
Yeah, right.
Watch it. Go shake your fist at the guards, Oleg.
Fuck them.
As I've tweeted many times, they're trying to win the 2014 World Series in 2024.
Yeah. Like, and the Brewers, man, Devin Williams is hurt already.
Yeah,
they're counting on a bunch of, I don't know. I mean, beside Reese Hoskins, but I think the Cubs have something up their sleeves for a midseason trade, and I think that there's going to be some surprising names available, and it'll be kind of fun to see. I still wish that they would trade Pete Crow for Luzardo or something like that. That'd be fun, but whatever.
I think one thing the Cubs do have, even if they didn't, outside of a trade, they could bring up Pete Crow. I like Tate Horton too.
Yeah,
maybe a mid-season pitcher. He could add something really. I don't know if he's as good as Skeens, but we'll see. Like when the Pirates bring him up, but I think he could still be very formidable.
Even if it's 75% of Skeens, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like we're talking about not the prospect forward about it, but we're whatever. Like.
I mean, if the Cubs want to make a big move at the deadline, they have an incredible piece to trade. I mean, teams would be banging out the door for Nick Madrigal.
True.
And talk about a move that could alter the landscape of baseball.
Can't believe he made the frickin' opening day roster.
Hey, he was the 4th overall pick in a draft once. He's got to be good.
Not by them, though. They don't have to live that down.
It is. Oleg, you might as well give us your actual order of finish, since you basically broke down the division.
Sorry. Cubs, Reds, Pirates, and then, I don't know, Cardinals, Brewers finish.
Whoa. From the bottom up?
Oh, no, sorry.
No, I didn't have dramatic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cardinals, Brewers, whatever. I don't want to. They'll finish with 50 wins apiece.
Yeah. All right. So basically, Cubs good, Cardinals, Brewers bad. That's how you sum that up. That's good. That's fine.
I like that.
Praz, take us home.
I'd take us home for the division?
Yeah. You're the last one, right?
No, I already said it.
Oh, shit. I got to the end and then I fucked it up. Is that it?
Yeah, I got the same as Donohue.
Yep. Look at that. I was rolling. I made it through 6. I kept track of everybody and then failed at the end. All right. Now, I want you guys to give me your... Well, Dave only wants contraction in the playoffs. He wants to go back to 5 teams.
Yeah, I only picked 2 wild cards in the past.
Oh, wait, it's very.
But we're gonna go with 6. And I'll just go first. In the National League, the division winners that I had were the Barbs, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. My wild card teams are the Fighting Phillies of Philadelphia, the San Francisco Giants, and the defending National League champion Arizona D-Bags. And in the American League, my division winners were the Orioles, Twins, and Mariners. And my wild card teams are the Jays, the Yankees, and the Astros. Ooh. Mike Pusateri.
All right, my division winners in the National are I got the Cubs, Braves, and Dodgers. And my wild card are the Phillies, Giants, and D-Bags. And over in the American League, I have got the Orioles, Twins, and Astros. And my wild cards are the Yankees, Mariners, and Blue Jays.
All right. David Brown.
Braves, Cubs, Dodgers, Orioles, Twins, Rangers as with division winners. And then, Andy, I'm changing some of these just because.
That's fine. You're the only one who showed me your picks anyway.
I showed you my picks.
I didn't show you. You showed me yours. I didn't show you mine.
Hey, keep it clean.
Someone did send a certain link in the chat before this started, and I don't know
with
what. So,
And it was to their own OnlyFans page though. Right. Try to drum up some business.
I'll stick with the Phillies and also pick the. I'll go with the Giants and the Padres as the other wild card, even though I don't even really believe in that. So but I'm saying it because we got to get on the record.
Yeah.
American League wild cards. I like Houston and Seattle, and then for the third one, I'm gonna say, I don't know. I'll go with the Yankees. I really don't believe it. I mean, I think they should finish fourth, but I'm going with the Yankees.
All right. Mike Donohue.
Like everybody else, I believe Braves, Cubs, and Dodgers from east to west in the National League. You have the Phillies, Giants, and Padres settling up for the wild cards, and like everyone else, I got the Orioles, Twins, my AL West champion, the Astros. We've got the Mariners, Rangers, and Yankees. Actually, what I have? Yes. Mariners, Yankees, and Braves. I do have three instances. So Yankees and Rays wild card. No Rangers. That's following Bruce Bochy's thing. Dave touched upon it, but he won 3 World Series, and they were all followed up by misses in the playoffs. So I'm just saying the Bochy pad of a whole.
That third one, Cubs beat him out for that last wild card.
That's right.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. You're right.
Mike Prazatsky.
All right. National League. I got the Atlanta Braves winning the NL East as the number 1 seed. NL Central, the Cubs as the number 3 seed. NL West, the LA Dodgers as the number 2 seed. Number 1 wild card, I got the Phillies. Number 2 wild card, I got the San Francisco Giants. I think might honestly have the best rotation in the National League of any team after getting Blake Snell. And another formidable one after signing Jordan Montgomery. I'll go. My 3rd wild card is the Arizona Diamondbacks. American League, I have my division winners. The Orioles as the number 1 seed, the AL East winner. The Astros as the number 2, my AL West winner. Tigers number 3 as the AL Central winner. Wild cards, I originally ordered it Yankees, Rangers, Mariners. I think I'll still keep the same 3 teams, but Yankees get knocked down to the 3rd. I'll say Rangers number 1 wild card, Mariners number 2 wild card, Yankees number 3 wild card.
All right. Mike Donohue.
For the actual sheets, not. Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I have gone.
Oleg. I thought it was Michael and Oleg.
All right.
Do it again.
I'm going to get a little crazy here.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Braves, Cubs, Dodgers, right? We're good there. Phillies, Giants, and I'm going to go Reds.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Lodolo coming back. Rian's pretty good. Athens might be pretty good. Like
they could bring Trevor Bauer back.
What?
They could bring Trevor Bauer back. That would make everybody excited.
I mean, they deserve Trevor Bauer, but and in the American League, I mean, Orioles, Twins, Mariners, and I think that it's going to be Rangers, Astros, and Tigers for the wild card.
Ooh, that's right. You did.
Tigers. Right.
Like, the pitching's coming back. Thorkelson might take a step up. Like, I don't know, Colt Keith is any good. They got this Parker Meadows guy. Like, they might have something going on.
All right. Do you
I'm
think...
with you on him.
Oleg, I have a question for you about the Tigers. Do you think Spencer Torkelson, because he's playing in the Motor City, would be better if he would redo his last name and spell the torque in Torkelson Torque?
Yes. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes.
There we go. Really?
I've asked questions that stupid to players. Maybe I'll do that.
You know what they call knit hats in Canada?
Toops? Yes, I forgot, but go ahead.
Toops.
Yeah.
A toot.
Spencer Torkelson.
Spencer knit hat. Listen.
All right. And then finally here we have to give me your LCS matchups and your World Series. Your LCS matchups, who wins, and then who wins the World Series. We'll start with Oleg.
Cubs over Braves.
Ooh.
Orioles over Astros.
And then your Cubs-Oriole World Series, who's the winner?
Orioles.
Oh, come on. You picked them all the way to the World Series, and they choke it to Brandon Hyde and the Orioles. Yeah. I just preferred that they were up 3 games to none.
Then the Orioles can finally lay claim that they won the Jake Arrieta trade.
All right, Praz.
All right, ALCS, I have the Orioles and I have the Rangers. NLCS, sorry, no Cubs on this one. I got the Braves and the Giants. And then in the World Series, I have the Orioles beating the Braves.
All right. Mike Pusateri.
I've got it's an all-Eastern everything. In the National League, I got the Braves and Phillies, and the Braves winning. And I got the Orioles-Yankees, with the Orioles winning, and then the Braves to win it all.
So you're saying the Yankees will not have a junior high, was he an elementary school junior high kid, hang over the wall and steal a home run from the Orioles in a key moment?
I'm not saying it won't happen.
It just won't make the difference.
That's right.
David Brown.
I've got the Braves beating the Dodgers in the NLCS and the Twins beating the Orioles in the ALCS. I'm going to tank for the Twins. Totally.
Yep.
And then the Braves beating the Twins at the World Series, revenge for 91. The 1990 World Series.
Yes.
Yes.
Mike Donohue.
I've got the same. I've got Orioles beating the Twins, the ALCS. Braves beating the Padres. Padres advancing after upsetting Dodgers again. And then the Orioles bringing back the first World Championship since the first Reagan administration in 1983. But I thought.
All right. Mine, my NLCS, I have the Phillies and the Braves. The ALCS, I have a rematch of a playoff series from a couple of years ago. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners.
Ooh, okay.
I have
77 expansion teams.
And I have my World Series matchup is the Phillies and making their first appearance ever in the World Series, the Seattle Mariners. But I have the Phillies winning the World Series.
Oh.
Kyle Schwarber, World Series MVP.
All right, I like that. I can buy that.
That'd be pretty cool. I could think.
Seattle deserves to get in the World Series.
Do they?
Do they really?
Wow.
What
have you seen the downtown? I mean, come on.
Idolize.
All right, so then we also, more predictions.
Yeah.
I also picked the MVP, the Cy Young, the Rookie of the Year, the Manager of the Year in both leagues, because we're a hack podcast. Everybody does that. What the hell? I'll go first. My National League Most Valuable Player is Seiya Suzuki.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
He's going to carry those last 2 months in his hot spring and carry the
Dude,
Cubs.
I buy in. I don't know why. I buy in.
He's good.
I buy in too. He
was
was
talking
talking
about
over a player in Japan.
It's a different way. It's I don't know, man. I buy in.
Hot day of summer.
My American League Most Valuable Player is Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners.
Seattle.
Cy Young, the runner-up from last year, squished-faced Logan Webb.
Yeah.
Corey Hart's little brother. Not the sunglasses at night guy, the former outfielder for the Brewers. And George Kirby of the Mariners.
Hell yeah.
My Rookies of the Year is, in the National League, despite his team being bad, is Jackson Honeynut Churio. It's my hilarious Chris Berman nickname for him. And a guy you may have heard of from last year's World Series, Evan Carter. And my Managers of the Year, pointy-nosed Craig Counsell of the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
And How about this? From the Toronto Blue Jays, manager there, Don Mattingly. After John Schneider gets canned, he's the bench coach. John Schneider gets canned. The Don takes over, leads them to the LCS, and before the LCS, wins the voting for manager of the year.
Andy, I would also like to vote for chaos.
That would be true for him, because didn't he win one in 2020 with the Marlins?
At least two for the Don.
It's crazy to think like that guy could potentially win 2 managers of the year. Now I think about it, because he was never regarded as that great of a manager.
I mean, he's not even a manager yet.
So.
No, true.
How about it could be Tommy Hotovy? What if Craig Counsell has complications from appendicitis and he misses most of the season, and Tommy Hotovy takes over and he wins manager of the year?
What if they bring David Ross back in that?
Oh, they should.
All right, I'm leaving.
They should do that. All right. David Brown, your award winners.
Very chalky on the MVPs. Mookie Betts, possible future Dodgers catcher at this rate.
Yeah.
And Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto's going to get on base like literally every game. It's not probably literally true, but I like those guys for MVPs. Spencer Strider has got a curveball now, so look out for that. And Pablo Lopez, like I said, I'm in the tank with the Twins. All the reasons why I like him for AL Cy Young. Rookies of the Year, Paul Steens from the Pirates, and I've got Evan Carter also winning Rookie of the Year, even though he got a head start, kind of in a Randy Arozarena sort of way. And even
Greg Jeffries
is probably a better player, but I don't know. We'll go with Evan Carter because he's got a little experience, and we'll be a little more. He's fine in tune.
He said he thought Wyatt Langford might actually be a better player.
Yeah, Wyatt Langford. The Rangers have lots of prospects. Manager of the Year, I have Carlos Mendoza here for the Mets, and I don't know. I'm a fan of the Mets. I think you guys talked me out of the Mets. But maybe they'll be good. Rocco Baldelli from the Twins. Manager of the Year is such a weird award anyway. So, but those are my guys.
All right. Mike Pusateri.
All right. I, too, in the National League MVP, have Mookie Betts. In the American League, I have Juan Soto's teammate, Aaron Judge, as MVP. Cy Young National League, Spencer Strider. In the American League, I've got Corbin Burns.
They're saying Burns.
Rookie of the Year. In the American League, I too have Evan Carter. In the National League, I have Michael Busch.
Wow, there we go.
We've got Busch.
Wacky.
Manager of the Year, Craig Counsell. And in the American League, Brandon Hyde.
All right. Mike Donohue.
MVP, Fernando Tatis Jr., National League. Juan Soto, the American League. I, too, Andy, am going with Logan Webb. Take home the Hardinger. Under Denton Truyon. Logan Gilbert on the other side of the aisle. Rookie of the Year, Jackson Merrill. Was a shortstop. He was playing center field now. That's how good he is. And then the American League, Kobe Mayo from Baltimore. And Bob Melvin. Going to take those Giants. Surprise everybody. Kick on some hardware. And just like Dave, I got Rocco Baldelli getting the honors.
What's that? The Twin podcast tonight.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Jackson Merrill, former converted shortstop. You do realize that you do have to be a former shortstop to play for the Padres.
Right.
Their entire team is made up of former shortstops. Their entire infield, Jurickson Profar, Tatis, and Merrill. So six. That's 7 guys, right?
Hassan Kim, too,
right.
Thing.
Yeah. Right. Well, and he's a former shortstop who's also a shortstop again. So he qualifies. Because he moved into second, they moved him back to shortstop. It's what the Cubs
really have.
It's what we were promised with all the Cubs shortstops.
Right.
The Padres are making it happen.
Right. Weird that Mike would like Jackson Merrill.
this year. Yeah,
Is that weird?
I've got it on my. Oleg likes to share my insight, and he's playing it. I've had it on my protective roster. And it is very important to get into the world. Nobody cares about our fans.
Praz?
All right. MVPs in the American League. I'm going with the guy who finished runner-up last year to Shohei Ohtani. I'm going Corey Seager of the Rangers. In the NL, I'm going with Corbin Carroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks, following in the footsteps of Chris Bryant of winning Rookie of the Year one year and then winning MVP the next year. My Cy Youngs are going to be two guys who actually switched leagues. American League, I'm going Corbin Burns. National League, I'm going Dylan Cease of the Padres. Rookies of the Year, I got Jackson Holliday. In the AL National League, I got our guy, maybe an asterisk on this one, but I think we'll all enjoy it. Shota Imanaga will win National League Rookie of the Year.
Still a rookie.
Still a rookie. AL Manager Year, I have A.J. Hinch of the Tigers. NL Manager of the Year, our guy Craig Counsell. I did also go with Comeback Player of the Year, biggest breakout in each league, and first manager fired in each league.
All right, let's hear him.
So, AL Comeback Player of the Year, I got Jacob deGrom, as I mentioned earlier when we were talking Rangers. I think he comes back strong for them. NL Comeback Player of the Year, he missed all of last year. Now he's with the Brewers. I'll go Rhys Hoskins. Biggest AL breakout season, Spencer Torkelson of the Tigers. Biggest NL break.
How's it spelled?
Torquel.
Yep, absolutely.
There we go. He needs that cue to break out. NL, I'm going Andy's MVP pick, Seiya Suzuki.
Yay.
First AL manager fired, because he's been there quite a while and he's already been fired once by this team, Alex Cora of the Red Sox. And then first NL manager fired is going to be former Cubs coach, now Reds manager, David Bell.
Now,
Could it be David Ross?
Somebody could hire him.
I wish it could be. You got a David with a 4-letter last name, so.
I will admit that one of my initial guy gets fired, his replacement is manager of the year. Except I didn't want them to win enough for it to work. Is even with the contract extension, nobody is buying that Oliver Marmol is not going to get canned in June, and Yachty will be managing that team from then on, probably while wearing a basketball uniform and like zooming in from Puerto Rico. But he will be managing them.
They gave Marmol an extension to not make a stink when they fire.
Right, exactly. Here's a little extra money for when we kick your ass out the road.
Yeah. It'll be Trump being president from Mar-a-Lago.
All right, now we get to the fun stuff. It's some Cub-centric.
Did I get to pick?
You went.
No.
Oh, Oleg. I'm sorry, Oleg.
I don't think I would.
You didn't go. You're right. That's why I said, now we'll get to the fun stuff. It's Oleg.
Yeah. There you go. All right. My MVP, Mookie Betts in the National League. And I'm going to go with Julio Rodriguez in the American League only because I think Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson are going to split the vote for the Orioles.
Is Mookie is Dave Butts' kid? Interesting. Mookie Butts?
All right.
I thought you were making a funny.
I really wanted to. I was dying to get to Gunnar Henderson and try some thoughts about it.
Yeah.
That might be it. Cy Young. Zach Wheeler is the National League, and Grayson Rodriguez in the American League.
Okay. Nice.
Rookie of the Year. I've got my National League.
Come on.
I'm in the National League.
Let's go, Jackson.
Oh, it was going to be Yamamoto. That's who it was.
Well, he's not off to a great start so far.
In the National League. And in the American League. Yeah, that is too.
But while you're mulling,
Jackson Holiday.
Perfect. There we go.
There we go.
Oleg's on an 8-second delay.
I had an interesting manager of the year. Managed to lead Derek Shelton in the National League.
Okay.
And batted high in the American.
Okay. Very good.
Your MVP logic, I do kind of like it with, thinking that the Orioles will split the vote. It's kind of what I factored in with picking Corey Seager for my MVP vote. I think that the two Yankees will also split the vote, Soto and Judge.
Sure. Yeah. It might be very concentrated at the top. They all can have good years.
I could see a way that the Rangers, that Langford and Carter both split that Rookie of the Year vote.
Right.
And if Pete Crow Armstrong wins Rookie of the Year for the Cubs in the American League.
Nice. Trade him.
No, they're like, you know what? Let's give it to Pete. Give it to Pete.
There's a DH in the National League now. It's basically the American League.
Yeah. Okay, now we get to our. I gave you guys some Cub things to pick. First two, we're going to talk about biggest surprise and biggest disappointment. I'm going to go first, just to let you guys see how it's done. Just to demonstrate, in case you were like, I don't understand this is too complicated. Here's how it works. My surprise is actually two-part. Number one, the surprise is Jameson Taillon goes undefeated at 0-0 because every time he's about to come back, his back locks up and he doesn't pitch. But in his stead, Javier Assad wins 12 games for the Cubs.
Ooh.
And the biggest disappointment is, I don't know how I'm going to cope when this happens. Guys, I don't think Ian Happ is going to win a third straight Gold Glove.
Oh, that's. I keep a disappointment in your face.
Yeah. All right, Oleg, you can go next.
All right. I think my biggest surprise.
All he didn't do is homework.
I
just put points down. I just
showed up in the final.
This time, Oleg.
Yeah, I think my biggest surprise is when Seiya Suzuki hits more than 35 home runs this year.
All right, I like that.
My biggest disappointment is going to be when Nick Madrigal gets more than 100 plate appearances.
In May. Well, either. David Brown.
All right. Biggest surprise. Nick Madrigal will grow 5.5 inches after staying overnight in the Mr. Hotel. Biggest disappointment. It's always the Crane remains employed. Here's no
guy.
I think Michael Busch will be a disappointment. I'm not rooting for that. I'm just.
He's my Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
Wow. Kill him back.
Is that all we want to know, or do we want to know?
That's all we want to know for now. We're just doing these two right now.
All right.
Mike Pusateri with your rebuttal.
All right, my rebuttal. Here's my second your Crane comment. My biggest surprise is Cade Horton will be the Game 1 starter for the Cubs in the NLDS.
Wow.
Wow.
It's not because he's well rested because of his elbow injury, right? They're not Kerry Wooding him in 1998.
I'm not Kerry Wooding him or no, nothing like that. My biggest disappointment is Jameson Taillon will still be on the team by the time the season's over.
Praz.
Biggest surprise, goes into your MVP pick and in my biggest breakout pick. I think Seiya Suzuki is going to lead the Cubs in, I will say, 75% of positive offensive statistics and will place top 10 in the NL MVP. Biggest disappointment, I hate to say it because he had damn near every clutch hit down the stretch for the Cubs last year, but I think Yan Gomes takes a step back. He returns to being a subpar hitter like he had been previously, probably to the point where the Cubs are looking for a catcher at the deadline.
Oh.
Wow.
Do you know why the Cubs missed the playoffs this year? Because Yan Gomes was the only one getting clutch hits. That's why they missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mike Tynan, not
wrong. That's actually just a tailor-made segue. Because I had as my biggest surprise the emergence of Miguel Amaya.
Yeah.
And it actually dovetails with the fact that I think we got a death rattle or that was, yeah. Let me just say for the record, and I mentioned this the other day when I was that the everlasting, in spite of the above average production that he had last year, the image I always have in my head about Nashville is a positive one. Game 6 to 20, Game 7 of the 20 World Street. After the Rajai homer, when everyone's heart was racing through our skin, and Yan Gomez was able to bring order to chaos with the completely inept at bat against Chapman, chasing stuff and kind of calmed things down. So I always remember him fondly. And that was before he had a really nice season last year for the Cubs. But I think that was a outperforming his projection. Going to be a deviation. When it's going to dump, it's not going to be painful. So while it's a disappointment for you, Praz, it actually ties to my getting surprised that Miguel Mize to be that on the mound and emerge and be above average of the catcher. Biggest disappointment is that Zach Seidman will make it to your life.
Alive. Yeah. Not if I can help it waiting by the booth one of those games.
A little harsh.
All right. So next we're going to combine the next two. So you got a lot to remember here. You have to remember which prospect you think earns a regular spot in the majors first. I gave you a little bit of either Pete Crow or Matt Shaw, or you can have someone else. You can have maybe from the field. Then we're going to do the three pitcher things. Who gets the most wins? Who gets the most losses? Who gets the most saves? And since it's fun to watch Oleg try to remember what he thought, we're going to go with him first. Before I don't want him extra time to prep. He's just got to do this.
I got this one.
All right.
Matt Shaw makes it first because the Cubs are going to trade Pete Crow Armstrong in May.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And then pitcher leads the Cubs in wins. Most wins, most losses, most saves.
Me?
You? Yeah.
Oh,
we're doing these all together. I thought I explained that elaborate wind-up was me explaining that.
Shota in wins, Smiley in losses, Alzolay in saves.
All right. Mike Pusateri.
I'm going to go with, I think Ian Happ's hammy is going to be acting up. It's not going to react too well to the Chicago cold weather. So I think Alexander Canario is going to be the first. But I have a little surprise in that area. Although I love Pete Crow and I love Matt Shaw, I think Owen Casey will come up and be a regular before those guys.
The Albino Rhino.
The Albino Rhino.
Oh, I like that nickname. Was that given to him on Marquee, or was that...
No, I just gave it to him. Gave it to him in my column the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been reading the wife.
Yeah, if you would read the column, it goes with the companion to the podcast.
So we've got two guys under the Scipio MVP. We've got the Big Dumper and the Albino Rhino.
Yep.
Sorry, who's the big dump?
Cal Raleigh.
Cal Raleigh.
From the Mariners.
And a big booty.
Badass.
All right. Mike, did you pick the pitchers while we were on the phone?
I'm going to have Shota leading the team in wins. Losses, boy, there's a lot to choose from. I'm going to go with Tyone. I'm a little bit worried about Steele maybe having a bit of an up and down season, but that's not to the point where he's going to lead the team in losses. So I think it'll be Jameson Tyone, provided he stays healthy. Staves, I'm going to say it's going to be Neris leading in saves.
Ooh, because of an injury to Hedbert or a role change?
I think it'll be a role change. I think Neris will eventually take over that job.
Okay. Praz.
All right. First prospect called up. It'll be chalk, but it's going to be PCA. I think that there might be some struggles early with Michael Busch, more so than anything with Ian Happ. I think that you're probably going to see him get some playing time cut down. Cody Bellinger slides to first base, plug in PCA in center field. Wins leader, this may be off the board. I'm going to go Jordan Wicks. The Cubs went 6-1 in his starts last season. He went 4-1 overall. And it ties into my theory about Yan Gomes having some playing time cut down. With Miguel Amaya catching him last season, Jordan Wicks had a 3 ERA. With Yan Gomes catching him, his ERA was 6.59.
Wow.
Small sample size, but, I think that it aligns with the Gomes decline. Loss leader, hate to say it, and I don't think he's going to have a bad year. I think he'll still have a winning record. I'm going to go Justin Steele. I think he's going to have a similar year to what Carlos Zambrano did in 2007, going 18-13. Again, going with the catcher ERA breakdown, Yan Gomes has been the catcher that has caught him the most of any in his career. He has 151.2 career innings with Yan Gomes and has a 2.43 ERA with him. He has a 3.96 ERA with all other catchers that have caught him over the course of his young career. I think he might have a little bit of problem adjusting to a new catcher, but he'll eventually figure it out. Saves leader, I'll stick with Adbert. I got full faith in Adbert.
All right. Donohue.
The first call up, I'm with Pusateri, and I don't know if it's a theft that's injured or what, but and I don't even know through the rest of Canario language straight to the albino lino. I think he's it up for both Petro and then Shaw. I have Shona winning the most. I think I'm a little bit of a reduction for Steele. Shona again will step up. Unfortunately, I've got our professor leading Stephen Lawson's this year.
That's mean. We all thought it.
Sorry.
You're the only one who picked it.
Yeah.
I know, I had to fucking say it. And then I've got Neris leading to it says I like Albert. I think, there could be some injuries, a little bit of committee work. I know if it's going to be a disaster. I was going to fix it up a little bit. Have Neris
if it's closer by committee, could it also be known as the College of Closers?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it'd be about as effective, probably.
Yeah.
Dave Brown.
I think I mentioned before, I think Kate Horton comes up and trumps those chalk guys for the prospect or a regular spot. I agree on Shota getting the wins, although I saw some tweet about the Cardinals stacking lefties against him in his start the other day and gave up a bunch of hits. Probably nothing. Probably nothing. It's a picture to lead the league, not the league, but the Cubs and losses. This is just silly. But Jose Cuas, I think it's funny for and the background.
Oh, man, make that trade look real bad.
And I got Adbert, the advertiser, leading the team in saying
the advertiser,
just because he's on my past.
There you go. There have been worse reasons
right here.
I'm going to say the first prospect that earns a regular spot is Matt Shaw. Because I love Matt Shaw. I have an unhealthy man crush on he's post-pubescent, right? He's not that young. That's fine. I'm not bringing any laws, I don't think.
I don't know, Pete Rose.
No.
He's like, no, it's fine. It was 50 years ago. She's 63 now. What pitcher will lead the Cubs in wins? I'm going to go with Shota, too, just because I like Shota. He's fun. Losses, I'm going to go with Jerry Merriweather. And in saves, I'm still going to go with Adbert.
Would only be right for the guy who did had the Go Cubs Go lyrics in his opening press conference to produce the most Go Cubs Goes.
Yeah. He sings the theme song to this podcast, so
exactly.
Why not? All right, so now we had some over-unders, and we're just going to do them all together. And if you can't remember the order, I'll be happy to prompt you.
Speaking all at the same time?
Yes, everybody. 1, 2, 3, go.
27.
Because a couple of these are two-parters. There's a lot of thinking. So I'll start. So how many games does Nick Madrigal play for the Cubs? I set the over-under at 70.5. I'm going to take the under, but with the bad news that I still think he's there all year. His tiny little hamstrings continue to snap.
I have trouble with that logic because I feel if he's under, that doesn't make sense because I feel that if he's on the team, he'll be in the best replacement a lot. So I'm worried.
I'm thinking he's just going to have multiple injury list stints again.
Either or. Just get him off.
The 70.5 would be if he was over, it'd be a career high for him.
Oh my God.
That's why I set it where it's at.
Well, not me. Your hope is that that's just for defense. And not that I think he's that much of a business. That's the only thing he can do against. Not below ordinary, but I'm wishful thinking of going on that.
All right.
Piece of shit trade that was.
So then the companion to this is, what team does he finish the season on? Fortunately, I have the Cubs, although I would like it to be the Long Island Ducks.
I have the Savannah Bananas.
Okay.
Probably.
All right. All right, so Donohue went. Mike Pusateri.
I got Nick. I've got him with 45 games, and I agree he will finish the season with the Cubs.
Okay. David Brown.
I've got under 50 on Madrigal, and he will finish the season on the White Sox.
Oh, God.
There we go.
Or the Cardinals. Either one of those would be good. Oleg.
I got the under, and who Cleveland's minor league, the Clippers.
The Columbus Clippers?
Clippers.
Yes, that's it.
It's not the Toledo Mud Hens anymore?
Yeah.
That's
Tiger Double-A team, right?
No, that's Tigers AAA team.
Oh, is that right? All right.
I know my minor league teams from MASH.
Yes, me too.
Praz.
I am going under. I'm going to say that Nick Madrigal, when Matt Shaw is called up for his major league debut, is the one that will get designated for assignment, and the team he will finish on is the Chicago Dogs.
Bat.
And he'll bat 7th.
Yes.
All right, so I said an over-under on how many homers Seiya will hit. He has 34 career home runs in 2 seasons. I put the over-under at 25.5. Why don't we just do this? Does anybody have the under? A lot of no's.
Nope. I'm expecting big things out of Sam.
Absolutely not.
Now we have a two-parter for Christopher Morel. First one is, how many homers does he hit? The over-under is 30.5. And the other part of it is, how many errors does he commit? Now, and doesn't just have to be a third base. It could be at any position, including DH. For reference, Trey Turner committed the most errors in the National League last year with 23. So I have him going over in homers. I have him hitting more than 30. And I have him hitting 36 home runs and committing 36 errors.
36 season.
A 30-30 man, Christopher Morel. And still worth it.
I was thinking about doing that joke too, but I'm like, well, if he really does commit 36 errors, I don't know. They can't let him do that. So
Right.
It probably wouldn't get that high, but that's
now if he's
taking it from your humor.
Do you think there's any point where if he's really struggling, the council will find him sitting in a tree without his uniform, and he'll have to tell him about the 50 errors that Hank Aaron committed when he was 14 years old? Is anybody else getting the Bad News Bears reference?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just letting
yes.
I thought you were just talking about like Craig Counsell growing up as a Brewers fan with Hank Aaron.
Great heartwarming scene with and does Walter Matthau call him Ahmed the whole time? I think he's supposed to be Ahmed.
I think he says Ahmad.
Ahmad?
Yeah.
That's what they had to drink before he showed up on set that day.
Yes, so distraught by his errors playing for the Bears that he doesn't deserve to wear a uniform, and he's sitting in a tree. That'll be Christopher Morel. But Counsell will talk him out of it, and he'll turn his whole season around, and it'll be great. Let's see. Mike Pusateri.
I got 33 and 20.
All right, we can live that. That would be good. Dave Brown.
37 and 26.
Okay. Oleg.
It seems crazy to me to expect Christopher Morel to hit 30 home runs. Like that just some bonkers. I think he's going to hit time. So I'm going 41 for Morel. I think he's going to finish with about 15 errors because there's no way the Dave's boys that they're going to let him go anywhere near 25 errors.
I like the tease there.
Praz?
I am going to go under on both. I'm going to say he finishes just under 30. I'll say I'll have him at 28 home runs, and I'll say he makes 25 errors. I mean, he hasn't. 23 was this number you said. I'll say we'll call it even 20.
Always under. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his career stats, obviously most of this has been, as DH, and he'll be moving over to third base full-time at least to start the season. But he's only made 13 errors over the course of his career in the big leagues for the 2 partial years he's been up. He might have a lot more, misplays on balls he doesn't get to that don't get counted as errors, but all right, we'll see.
Mike Donohue.
I got 28 and 22. What was the over-under on errors on catcher?
23.5.
Has it over-under for
So you were just under.
Yeah, so I'm under on both.
See,
28. I agree with Oleg. It's just nuts to think that he's already projected for 30. I'd be happy with 28. I'm excited to see the row.
All right. One exciting thing that's going to happen on. I should remember the day. Is it June 23rd?
It's June 23rd is the day. I think that it's not a Sunday.
On the 40th anniversary. How could it be 40 years? 40th anniversary of Ryne Sandberg taking Bruce Sutter's will to live. The Cubs are going to be unveiling a statue of Ryne. And if he stands next to it, chances are Taylor will interview the wrong one.
Is Rhino's dad still alive?
Yeah, I was going to say, did your dad make it to the ceremony? Why aren't you... Taylor, that's the statue. Oh, well, it moves as much as you do.
But I was going to say, would she be wrong to
no.
The statue?
She might get more... She might get better stuff out of the statue than out of Rhino. I might be the only one. I'm still endlessly fascinated because the Cubs have done a really good job. Like, when it was Fergie, we got to see Fergie visit the sculptor and see the prototype. We haven't seen anything with Sandberg. And so I'm fascinated as to whether he's fielding in his statue or he's batting in his statue, or I even put neither. And the reason I put neither is apparently, this is crazy to me, he has a statue at the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs Stadium.
Really?
From when he was a manager, and he's tipping his hat.
Oh.
And they even gave him a little bald spot, which I really enjoyed.
That shouldn't have been allowed. That usurps the Cubs' first night of statue, whenever, first the right of refusal.
Yeah, Brian, fuck that. They wouldn't hire me to be the manager. Put a statue up. I don't care. That's fine. For all I know, it was made out of chocolate, and the fans ate it, and it's not there anymore. But I saw a picture of it, and they gave a bobblehead away that had him, and he had number 1 on the back. No, wait, they didn't do that. Not only the Cubs fucked that up. And if we talk about this, I remember this crap. I have a vision in my head of what this statue looks like, and it has to be it. If it's not, I'm going to be very disappointed. It's little Rhino jumping over the bag, turning. In midair, about ready to throw, and he's got the flip down shades up. That's a very important thing for me. It has to happen. Does anybody else have any thoughts on what the Ryne Sandberg statue should or will look like? Praz.
Really quick, I couldn't agree with them more. I have nothing else to say. That's as soon as you said it, whenever it was, that's
Andy already planted that seed in my head and talking so I can't not think of the guy had a beautiful swing in the gaps, but it's not as iconic and turning to Praz had must be.
So he took a little side swipe, I remember, in his Hall of Fame speech at Sammy without naming names, saying that he was always looking down the dugout in that little red light with the camera. So my pose for him is going to be him giving the side eye all the way down to that one last plot where the empty statue is, and that's where they're saving the Sammy statue for, where he'll be waving it at the camera.
That's good. That sounds exactly like something the Ricketts would do. So I think you're good. You're on to something.
Listen, I'm holding out all hope for them to finally get together with Sammy. But
Mike Pusateri.
I agree 100% with you, Andy, on the statue. The only thing I wanted to add is if the Cubs had any sense of humor, they would unveil the statue on 420.
That's right.
Right?
Rhino stuns their life.
Why not do that? Okay.
All right. A couple of things. I threw this on just because last year the Cubs were so famously, for this team that was supposedly overachieving, they weren't overachieving their run differential. And we know how precious the run differential was. Book never shut up about it. It was supposedly proof that they were so good. They finished a whopping, and this is whopping, 7 games below what their Pythagorean record said they should have been. They should have won 90 games, been comfortably in the playoffs. Instead, they won 83. And I don't think we need to go person by person. Does anybody think that with Craig Counsell in the dugout that they're going to underperform their Pythagorean record to any degree?
No chance. It's what Craig Counsell teams do. They always overperform their Pythagorean. Fun fact, but actually, pop quiz for the group here. When was the last time the Cubs overperformed their Pythagorean win-loss record? Anyone know?
2016.
They actually underperformed that.
I think it was like 106, I think, now that I think about it. And they only won 103 games. No wonder they fired Joe.
2015?
Nope. It was actually 2022. The first 3 years with David Ross, they overperformed it. Not that it really mattered, but well, trick question there.
Well, darn it! Now I feel bad that they fired him.
Well, teams overperform.
Not really.
Like, is there anything more than just a variance in luck that they underperform or overperform? Like starting predictive. Like, can you predict? What I mean.
It's usually an indicator that, like, if you start with a poor record, as the Cubs did last season, that they're a better team than their record would indicate.
Right. I think the thing about the Counsell connection to this is the Brewers under him almost always overperformed their run differential. And that was part of what attracted him to the Cubs, because they're like, look, we don't even have to give him a good team. He'll just win, and that'll save us a lot of money because we don't have to go out and get a bunch of really good players. Craig will just make it work no matter what shit we give him. As we know, our buddy Pat Hughes, there are certain names that he really enjoys pronouncing. And I know how much he misses Wilson Contreras, as he got a chance to say it again.
Miguel Montero.
And so I was wondering what Cub in 2024, I put 2023 because I was living in the past, do we think Pat's going to make a meal out of with his name? And you get bonus points if you pick somebody other than Shota Imanaga. But you are perfectly welcome to pick Shota. Anybody have a thought?
I don't know if it's 2024, so I might be cheating in that area, but I'll say Kevin Alcantara.
I thought of that too. He's going to love that.
Do we know the official pronunciation on Alcantara or Alcantara? We all have that confusion with Arismendi that Len Casper had there up before.
Yeah, still one of the greatest things ever. Len getting yelled at on Twitter for mispronouncing, for pronouncing it Alcantara. And they're like, it's Alcantara. And he's like, I asked him.
Right.
And they're like, well, it's still wrong. He doesn't know how to pronounce his own name.
Right.
My guess is a guy that I think he's going to have to get these in relatively quick. I think he's going to like to say Yency Almonte.
Yep. That's who I had picked too. Good one. I can already hear him and Coomer making the jokes like, any Yencies in the Hughes household, Pat? Only a few, partner.
All right, as we start to wrap this up, we a couple of former Cubs I wanted to check in on.
Wait, I didn't get to throw it. Daniel
Palencia. Daniel Palencia.
That's good.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your Palencia. I know it could be beautiful.
Not right out of
got a crushed Palencia. So we got a couple of props that I made up here on Chris Bryant and Javi Baez. Chris Bryant, it's will he play more than I set the over-under on games played at 80.5. He has played a total of 122 games in 2 seasons with the Rockies. So what do we think? Over or under 80.5?
I have absolutely no confidence in this, but I think he'll go way over.
Yeah,
I'm the same. It's strictly my heart that is going with the prediction and nothing else.
love to see a little bit of a run. I know, Mike, Praz, you're pointing down, and it's probably the objectively smart, considering just how nothing has gone right for him since about 2017, but holding on hope that he's going to have a little bit of a renaissance and maybe regain a little bit of that trajectory.
45 games in the top 10, top 15 finish in the MLB.
That's it, Oleg.
There we go. Colorado almost feels like a place where he should thrive in. It's a little more of a laid-back environment. There's not much pressure on him. Great hitting environment. There's no locked-in position on that team other than maybe Charlie Blackmon in center field that, he can play all over, but I don't have faith in it until I see it. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field.
Fair. Now, their plan, though, is to play him every day at first, right? And DH, to try to keep him from running around and tearing things in his feet and running into the wall. And you still can't stop him from tripping over first and landing on his shoulder, I guess.
I was hoping he would be in left field for me in the home opener so I could tell him how much I love him.
You could still yell all the way to first. It'll be fine. I'm sure
That's true. I do have a voice that carries, so maybe.
And my second one is our old friend Javi Baez. And I love Javi, but I'm just fascinated by his horrible spring and the fact he struck out all the time. So I put his over-under at strikeouts at 160.5. He has averaged 152 in the last 3 seasons. And he led his last year in the National League with Cubs and Mets. He led the league with 184. Does anybody have thoughts on Javi over or under 160.5?
As I pointed out, his K rate has been going down the last few years. It's been well under 30% after kind of peaking over that for a while. But he also hasn't hit for any power, so I think he's probably going to have to start striking out more, in order to hit more. As paradoxical as that sounds, so I think he will not lead the league in strikeouts. It'll be under 161 or 160.5, and he'll be under.
I think he goes under regardless, whether he's good or he's bad. I think there's a path for both of them. Like I said, I have the Tigers winning the division, and I think being in that type of environment where every game is meaningful, he might, the last time he was in that sort of environment is where he thrived. And if it turns out that they aren't as good as I think they are, and he's a big reason for that, he might have his playing time cut just in time for him to not achieve 160.5 strikeouts.
They're not going to Jose Hernandez him and sit him the last day of the season so he couldn't strike out 200 times with the Brewers. I mean, I could see, to use the word paradoxical, which Dave used, the Tigers being better may actually lead to more Javi strikeouts. And I only say that because with the Mets in 21, he got off that awful start. Remember, the Mets were booing their own fans, and then all of a sudden him and Lindor took off, and he played really well for them. And he was very productive, and when he made outs, he just struck out. But if he hit the ball, and so maybe they'll get back to that Javi, where you don't mind the strikeouts because there's 3 of them in a game, but he also hit a homer and a double. And I want to see Javi play well.
The only bad thing that happened to him that year was when he celebrated and lost the earring.
That's right.
Oh, God.
Hasn't been recovered.
Good call. I forgot about that.
I had a dozen Mets staffers sifting through the dirt in front of home plate after a game.
Yeah. Like Nicky Santoro and his wife in Casino.
Yeah.
And then do we think that either Chris Bryant or Javi Baez finishes the season on a different team?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think no. I think the Bryant contract the Rockies are too cheap to eat any of it to trade him.
Yep. But I think that
that Baez gets traded next offseason.
Okay.
Well, we have seen them eat money to get a much better player off their books, so you never know.
Yeah, and that one they literally paid an entire season of Nolan Arenado's contract to have him go play for the Cardinals.
More than that, they gave him $50 million.
Yeah, but I mean that 1 year the Cardinals only had to pay the league minimum. The rest of it was like prorated, but the one whole season he was free. And here's the thing: they offered that deal to the Cubs first, and the Cubs didn't take it. He wanted to play for the Cubs.
Don't say that.
And Jed didn't do it. That sounds too good to be true. Wait, we got to pay him later? Oh, we're not doing that.
Yeah, and he wanted to be here. He had been talking many years about coming here.
Yep. That's right. He's old and stinks now. Well, actually, he's older, but he doesn't stink. All right, the last thing is, I just left it open. If any of you guys saw any props that you thought were interesting, I have a few, but I wondered if any of you guys also had some.
Definitely.
All right. Praz, start us off.
All right, so a bet that I mentioned earlier that for my AL MVP pick, I'm sticking with Corey Seager. I got him boosted actually to plus 1,500, but the regular odds then and now are plus 1,000. Exclusively on BetMGM. This is the only book I've seen this bet made. At plus 400, the Cubs and the Reds to finish top 2 in any order in the NL Central. Plus 400. I feel like there's some great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I have the Cubs and Cardinals as the favorite for the top 2 at plus 190 there. I did pick the Dodgers to win the NL West, but I think there's some good value in the Giants to win the NL West. They're currently at plus 1,000. Like I said, they have probably the best rotation in that division, maybe in the entire National League, now that they have Blake Snell and, Logan Webb was the runner-up for the Cy Young last year. They added Robbie Ray to that rotation as well. And, offense leaves a lot to be desired, but you never know. A pitching staff could bring them that far. Tigers, AL Central champs, plus 350, I bet them. I think there might be some pretty good value. If he hadn't been hurt, I would have picked Kodai Senga of the Mets to win the Cy Young. He's at plus 5,000. I think it's worth taking a look at. And then the Rays under 84.5 wins. I think they're not going to be that good this year.
All right.
Uh-oh, who dropped on us?
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, I can go.
All right, Oleg.
All right. I think O'Neal Cruz for NL MVP at plus 2,500 might be not too bad of a pick. I think for the AL Cy Young, Tarek Skubal is a pretty good pick at plus 900. Just, not the greatest odds, but with that. I also kind of like Spencer Strider, as much as I picked Zach Wheeler to win the NL Cy Young. Spencer Strider, who's the favorite at plus 450, I don't know. That just seems too easy. And what the hell? Might as well, still plus 450.
Okay.
So it's a limit.
I was just going to say, if you liked my Seiya for MVP pick, he's 50-1. He's plus 5,000 on DraftKings to win MVP. Yeah. And then the guy who didn't hit a ball in the air, Bryce Harper, is 10-1. That's pretty good. That's pretty good money on Bryce Harper. Shota is plus 800 to win Rookie of the Year. But there's a better Cub you can bet. There's much more value. You can get 50-1 on Matt Mervis. Oh, who wouldn't want to pick that?
I think you were going to say Matt Shaw after you said Matt.
Yeah. Also, David Bodie is minus 1,000 to be Pacific Coast League Player of the Year. He's complete chalk down there. I thought this was interesting. There are 9 players who are 4-1 or less to go 30-30. That's how common they think, because with the extra stolen bases. 2 of them are negative. Julio Rodriguez and Ronald Acuna are minus 175 and minus 350. There's literally no value in betting guys to go 30-30 because they're so good. One I found is Kyle Schwarber is plus 500 to hit his 300th home run this year. Do you know how many he needs? He needs 54.
Well, wow.
But it really should be 34 because he's hit 20 in the postseason. As Greg Maddux will tell you, why don't those count?
Sorry, what are the odds?
Plus 500. It's not even really good. It's 5-1 that had 54 home runs.
crazy.
Apparently they're afraid. They don't want to give out any money on him. And then lastly, the over-unders I liked. I really, really liked the Phillies. Their over-under is 89.5. I just can't see them winning less than 90 games. I like the Tigers at 80.5. And I like your Cubs at 84.5.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, one Cubs prop that I saw on DraftKings too, and this will tie in. Donohue, I think you said you have them going 90 and 72.
Sure.
On DraftKings, them to win 90 plus games is plus 200. Come on, catch on that.
I better back it off. That's my half-ass prediction.
Now, while Craig Counsell is plus 550 to win National League Manager of the Year, that's the best. He has the best odds.
Okay.
If you put a few bucks on the great Pedro Grifol, he's only plus 3,000. And also, if you want to really make
500, what if they go 500?
Well, he might make you. You don't have to win. You don't have to get in the playoffs to be manager of the year.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Joe Girardi won it, right? With the Marlins, they didn't make the playoffs, and he got fired.
I don't think they were even over 500 when he won it too. So,
and then one I liked. They have the plus minus on how many playoff teams your division will have. For example, the NL West to have 2 playoff teams is minus 135. The NL Central to have 4 is plus 15,000. What if they hog all the wild card spots? You're rich. But that's not even the best one, because if 4 teams make the AL Central make the playoffs, plays 400 to 1. You can retire on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anybody have anything else, or have we flogged this preview within an inch of its life?
We have.
All right.
Were we recording?
yeah, is this thing on?
All right.
Civilus. Check.
Well, thanks, everybody. I really appreciate this, and it's nice to have... we could have some more hope for the Cubs had they done things a little differently, but it's nice to have a good baseball team that we think might actually do something. So,
definitely.
Happy baseball's back.
Yes.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Guys. Many of us have herpes.
This is rough, but it's also finished.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. Got to congratulate the Dolan family.